David, do you think vaccination phases are ethical? Once you get to vaccinating healthcare workers, is it really ethical to limit who can get the vaccine beyond that? I mean, listen, this is basic utilitarianism. It's triage. You try to reduce the amount of death and people who get seriously ill from COVID. If that's the goal, if we all agree that those statistically more likely to get a cold, flu-like, are in one group, and those statistically more likely to die from COVID are in another group, it's completely utilitarian to say they get the vaccine first. So you would start with the oldest folks and those with the most serious medical conditions. There's nothing particularly unique about that. It's simply utilitarianism. Now, where it can get tricky is the practice of figuring out where some of these lines are. So, for example, throughout the pandemic, grocery store workers have been essential workers. So we've heard the term, but they've not been prioritized. We know that so many grocery store workers have gotten sick with the virus, and we're saying they're essential, but they're not being prioritized. Maybe it's being done incorrectly. But the idea of figuring out, at least when there's limited supply, who can get the vaccine first is perfectly utilitarian. Now, you can look at other criteria. You could say, well, we want this to be egalitarian, and so we're going to do it by lottery, as an example. You could make the case that that's preferable in some way. It's not likely to reduce death. The studies that I've looked at do say that starting with the oldest and the sickest is the way to reduce that death. And in fact, we're seeing it. If you look at the numbers now, cases have sort of plateaued. They've plateaued right around 50,000 a day. And hospitalizations keep declining and deaths keep declining. Now, the deaths are on a delay from cases, so we'll have to continue to watch that. But that makes sense because you tend to have people behave in a way that's reflective of the risk they perceive. There are definitely younger people, as we now learn about more and more older folks being vaccinated. There are more younger people doing whatever the hell they want, spreading COVID. It's leading to cases, but the deaths and hospitalizations are going down because the most vulnerable have already been vaccinated. So I do believe that as vaccine supply increases, the restrictions probably become, I don't know if the word is less ethical, but less necessary. And certainly any thawed vaccine should be used no matter what. There are some anecdotal stories, and we've covered some of them, of people who have been penalized, and in some cases, I believe even fired, for using open doses, which would go bad if you leave them overnight, on people who did not yet meet criteria. I think that's terrible. And to the extent that it's happening anecdotally, it shouldn't. It's very bad. We should be using every single dose. A dose in a trash can is never better, no matter what, than a dose in someone's arm. But yes, from a utilitarian standpoint, and this is a common way to analyze some of these medical ethics issues, there's nothing unethical about the vaccine triage. And it does appear as though it's being done more or less in the right way. But there are arguments to be made about, well, teachers maybe should have been earlier if they're going to have to be in schools with kids. If grocery workers really are essential, we know a lot of them are getting sick. They should be on. I think you can tweak with some of the specifics, but there's nothing unethical in principle. One of our sponsors is privacy.com. They're giving you $5 when you sign up for their completely free service at privacy.com/Pakman. I've been using Privacy for a little over a year now. You've heard me talk about it before. It's a lifesaver, and here's how it works. Takes just a couple of minutes to set up. Anytime you buy something online or on the phone, instead of actually using your real credit card number, the Privacy app and the browser plugin let you give each company a randomized virtual credit card number that you create out of thin air. It'll even autofill the card number with one click. And the payment is taken out of your checking account without the merchant ever knowing your real information. So this allows you to keep your banking information secure, but also to take control of your finances. You can create up to 12 of these virtual credit cards a month. You can set spending limits. You can freeze them. You can delete them anytime you want. So when you do this, it means you're not going to be charged when you don't want to be, because you can destroy the virtual card number right after using it, which, for instance, I love using free trials because I know I won't be charged when the trial is over if I use a virtual credit card number. You're keeping your identity private by not telling companies who you are. You're keeping your bank or credit card info protected against data breaches and identity theft, and it's free. And like I said, you'll get $5 to spend when you sign up at privacy.com/Pakman.